inshallah. Yeah. So now, also the other page. Assalamu alaikum, the guys on live feed. Are you able to hear and listen properly? Just please confirm on the various pages. And please share the links in the feeds with everyone. We'll be starting very, very shortly, inshallah. I'll just give another minute before we can actually make a start, inshallah. Please share the feeds. I hope, inshallah, the Eid was good with everyone and people enjoyed themselves, had fun, inshallah. Obviously, in various countries, we have different situations, so it's not the same everywhere. So I hope, inshallah, in the countries wherever you are safe and sound. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of you, inshallah, wherever you are. So I'll just be waiting for another kind of 60 seconds, you can say, before I can make a start, inshallah. Okay. So I'm actually simultaneously on two pages. One is the live deen page, and the other one is the youth club page of Shadda. It is being streamed live on both. So please share the feeds, guys, and inshallah, I'm going to be now making a start in 10 seconds, inshallah. Okay. Okay. إن الحمد لله نستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. So like I said, inshallah, I hope everyone is doing good. Eid was good. Ramadan was excellent as well. And this session obviously is all the more important from multiple reasons and multiple perspectives. One is that obviously, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enabled us to go through the journey of the Quran in the month of Ramadan. But now, alhamdulillah, Ramadan is over and the next phase of our life begins beyond Ramadan. And there are various things with regards to how we as human beings would be spending it, and also how the surroundings would have us spend it. Yeah. So it is not only that how we want to really be doing stuff, but also about our surroundings. And at the end of the day, the reason of these sessions is basically that what is that we need to do from internally within ourselves in order to ensure that we stick to our promises, we stick to the tawbah, and we stick to whatever we have asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the blessed month of Ramadan. So I will start with one point, actually, a point of benefit, which one of our brothers actually from Makkah, Brother Abu Awzai Abdul Salam, he mentioned in one of the sittings that basically after Ramadan, there was a sitting with one of the shayukh in Makkah. And we'll look at the opposing side of it. So what is that? Most of the time we are thinking about individuals, that how actually Ramadan has been accepted from them. So now let us look at the opposing angle, which is that what is the sign for a person for which a Ramadan has not been accepted? Yeah. So, and the biggest thing, which is that basically that if we are as individuals, if we are turning back to what we were before Ramadan, then that is basically a sign that something has gone wrong and something is not really working the way it should work. That is number one. So for example, if we were before Ramadan, we had some bad behaviors and habits, and we entered the month with that bad behavior and habits, and then within the month of Ramadan, we improved upon that. Yeah, so we improved upon the habits, we improved upon the taqwa, we improved upon our goals of fasting, basically. And beyond the month now, if we are returning back to what we were, What is that we are returning back to? Are we actually now going back to our old ways? Number one. Are we actually, do we have the same kind of connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as what it was in the month of Ramadan? Are we doing some extra charity still? Are we trying to do some extra nafafil still? Are we spending our time with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Are we actually dedicating our time and our energies in doing the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Yes, that's for sure. That, Ramadan is something which is a blessed moment and which is a blessed month in and on of itself. And obviously, we cannot be in the same situation beyond Ramadan as how we were in Ramadan. That is something which is absolutely true. But again, is that we are returning back to that? That is number one. Number two is that when we entered the month of Ramadan, what was our intention? And inshallah, we all hope that our sincere intention was to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way He needs to be pleased, and also to ensure that our tawbahs, whatever we have done in Ramadan, actually is accepted. That was the bottom line. Because if we were able to have our tawbahs accepted in the month of Ramadan, that basically means what? That inshallah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us through the beloved mouth of the Prophet ﷺ, that as if you are a newborn baby. So now, what is that a newborn baby needs to do? Yeah, so this is what we are going to be looking at. And when we spoke about the sincerity of intentions, we also need to understand that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has actually said that Almighty Allah says, I am the one who is most free from want of partners. He who does a thing for the sake of someone else besides me, I discard him and his polytheism. And this is narrated by Sahih Muslim. And what it means is that if our intention while we entered the month of Ramadan was to have this tawbah accepted, or was it to please someone else, or was it to actually have the praise that we were doing the sadaqah and we were doing the charity? So that is something which we need to think about. Another point of benefit is that basically one of our shayukh, Sheikh Saad al-Shidri, which mentioned last year, and this point of benefit is full of goodness and full of wisdom. And let's look at what our Sheikh said. So the Sheikh said, when he was asked that in the haram, that after Ramadan, O Sheikh, how do we remain upon khair? What is that good state and the goodness after Ramadan which we need to actually stay on? And Sheikh Saad actually replied that there are certain actions one can perform that will allow him or her to attain many rewards. Yeah. And from amongst those are acknowledging the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us. One of the major goals of Ramadan was what? That we are able to recognize the blessings which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has upon us. And we are able to show the gratitude which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس بينات من الهدى والفرقان. That this month is that in which we reveal the Quran, a guidance for the people and clear proofs of guidance and good. So what is that? What are the four things Sheikh Saad mentions? Sheikh Saad says, recognize the health Allah Ta'ala has granted us. How many brothers and sisters do we see that they need ventilators and they need other things to actually breathe upon? They are reliant upon others to have that breathing, especially nowadays in this difficult situation we are in. How many people we see in our lives, they are on wheelchairs, they are on life support systems. How many people do we see that they are not of sound mind? So the first thing is that the health which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us. The second thing, the second blessing which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us is the wealth, the family and the friends and the neighbors which we have. So this is again one of the greatest blessings which we have been given to us. The third thing is, which is mentioned, that recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided us to Islam, and that is the best of it. Yani what? This is the chance for us to save ourselves from the fire. And this is from amongst the greatest of blessings which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually has given us. So recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us success in having the desire to practice Islam and desire to practice the Sunnah. So what is the result of my brothers and sisters? So the result is that we are grateful to Him for these blessings by devoting ourselves in His worship, and we continue to do our 5 daily prayers. And not only that we continue to do something extra. We continue to give something extra in charity, and we continue to be good to our parents, and we continue to be good to our neighbors, and we continue to be good to our family. So that was not something which only we had to do in Ramadan. But beyond Ramadan is something which is again something which we need to aspire to. So having this sincerity in all actions, let's think about these actions for the intention for every action which we are doing. No matter how small those actions might be, as we always said, fastabikul khairat. The best of the people are those who are running towards doing good. And the best of people are those who actually do not mind about the smallest of actions, but they always think about their niyyah and the intention behind which the action is being done. So what is that, oh my brothers and sisters, which will bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And it is nothing but that sincerity. It is actually the quality over the quantity of something which we do. So what is else? What else is the quality of ihsan? And the performance of actions and the performance of worship as per ihsan. And what is that ihsan? That ihsan is that we need to be from amongst the people of who are muhsineen. And who are the people of muhsineen? The people who are always humbling themselves towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who are always doing shukr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about all the blessings which He has given us. And also by paying full attention to what we actually are saying and knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually is watching us. This is the ihsan which we stand up when we stand up for prayer. We have this cognition. We have this recognition that actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us. So this is, my brothers and sisters, this is something which is a means of obtaining these tremendous rewards. And the perseverance of the limbs against disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the guarding of the tongue against backbiting others, and the guarding of our eyes and the ears by not looking at the things which have been forbidden, and protecting our hands and our feet from disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because why? Because all of this, as we've understood throughout our journey of the Quran, is that all of these are going to be doing testification for or against us on the day of judgment. As the Shaykh then continued to mention in Surah Al-Mu'minun, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ, till the end of verse 11 of these beautiful initial verses of Surah Al-Mu'minun. That successful indeed are the believers who are humbling themselves in prayers, who have this khushu in their prayers, not only in Ramadan, but also after Ramadan. Those who avoid all the idle talk, and those who actually are paying their zakah, and not only paying their zakah, my brothers and sisters, that we've seen, but also who are forgiving others, who are actually not only understanding that zakah is something which was an obligation in Ramadan, but also they are recognizing that we have to clean our mind before the salah. That also we have to recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like for us to be addressing things in a way which He has not ordained them to be. Then also we have to understand, my brothers and sisters, as we always say, that as any human being, what we have is we have a personality of an onion. And we need to continue to do an understanding of exactly what this personality is. We peel this onion and we keep on peeling this onion, and we look into the mirror, and then we correct ourselves, and we continue to peel the layers of this onion, and we continue to correct ourselves till inshallah we meet our Lord. This is what it really means, my brothers and sisters. But whosoever then goes beyond this, then they are from amongst who are the transgressors. The believers are also those who are true to their trusts and their covenants, and those who are properly observant of their prayers. These are the ones who will be awarded paradise as their own. They will be there forever. Yeah, and this is from amongst the traits. And what are from amongst the other traits? As we have seen in Surah Al-Furqan, towards the end of those ayahs, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشَوْنَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا, till the end of the surah, till the end of Surah Furqan, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps on mentioning about humility. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the sincere devotion which is going to be for His sake only. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the hope and mentions about the fear. That a moment is whom? A moment is which who actually is between, always between hope and fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That a Muslim and a mu'min and a mu'minah is who? Actually the people who are always hoping for the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and who are always fearful about the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then also, Who are the successful? Who are the Ibadur Rahman? The people who are always spending, always doing sadaqah, always doing charity, not only the obligatory charity, but continue to do that. And those are the Ibadur Rahman, which continue to do what? Which continue to avoid the major sins. And ya Ibadur Rahman, وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَشْهَدُونَ الزُّورَ وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِاللَّغْوِ مَرُّوا وَكِرَامًا, that they are those who do not bear false witnesses. And when they come across falsehood, they pass it with dignity. And also, who are these? They are those, Ya Ibadur Rahman, وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا, that they are always those who are always praying, our Lord, bless us with the pious, and bless us with the pious offspring, and the spouses who will be the joy of our hearts, and make us models for the righteous. So my brothers and sisters, the point is that are we actually now continuing to be amongst the ones who are continuing on this beautiful journey of our life? Once we sat on a boat of our life, which was called the life journey, where are we actually standing now? That is the question which we need to understand. That is the question which we need to ask. Because as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us, O Ibadur Rahman, Ulaika yazuna ghurfata bima sabru wa yulqawna fiha tahiyatan wa salama. It is they who will be rewarded with elevated mentions in paradise for their perseverance, and will be received with salutations and greetings of peace, staying there forever and forever. What an excellent place to settle and reside, my brothers and sisters. This life after Ramadan continues, and the test of this life actually also continues after Ramadan. So what is that, my brothers and sisters, now when we are actually coming and understanding the success? What is the success? As the Shaykh then mentioned towards the end of his talk. وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, and remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abundantly so that you may be successful. And the Shaykh then differentiated between what? Between najah and between falah. So who are the people who are from amongst the tuflihun? The people are from the tuflihun, which respond when the call to the prayer is said, which is Hayy al-Falah, and they take the call of that success of all the affairs. This is what it is, my brothers and sisters. And the najah is something which the Shaykh mentioned is that we are actually particularly thinking about an affair. And falah is something which is forever, which is being successful in all the affairs. And that is the reason Hayy al-Falah is mentioned. Because when we respond to that call to the prayer, then what happens, my brothers and sisters, is that we are from Waskurullaha Kaseera La'allakum Tuflihun, that we are from amongst the ones who are then written down in the book of deeds as from amongst the Zakirun, as the one who constantly do the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So beyond that, my brothers and sisters, what are now the traps of shayateen? And what is the trap of shaitan? And that is the reason, obviously, all of you are and all of us are gathered here today to actually start this journey, which is going to be a longer journey. This is not going to be a journey which is going to be a shorter one. This journey might take us a few months. Yeah. So maybe you can say between 3 to 4 months, every Saturday, inshallah, when we will be meeting. And inshallah, bi'iznillah, we actually say, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. That whatever we say, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expands my chest, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens up your chest as well, that whatever we say in these sessions, it goes directly into the heart of the believers. Because a believer is what? Who constantly seeks the reminder, my brothers and sisters. Because this dunya is going to catch up from here, and this dunya is going to be calling us from there. Because we are all going to be now being involved in our daily affairs and our daily course. We are going back to our jobs and we're going back to our businesses. Some of us have already done so, and some of us will be starting this Sunday or this Monday. So my brothers and sisters, the point is that this trick, which is not the trick of the dunya, but also within it, what we need to do is to understand the tricks of the shayateen. And this is the great book which we will be starting, inshallah, probably towards the end of this discourse today. We'll try to, inshallah, cover some aspects as an introduction. But again, what I want to do now is to actually give you a varied understanding of what this term shaitan is. What are jinns? What is the term iblis? What do we mean by ifrit? Yeah. So what is how do we understand these terms? And now I will be going slightly slowly so that inshallah we are able to make sense of whatever is going to be inshallah said. So in various cultures and in various societies, in various norms, we have different concepts of Iblis. We have different concepts of shaitan, jinns. So, for example, in some of the concepts, we have a jinn as a Casper, as a cartoon. Yeah. In other concepts, we have the jinn as something, having two horns and having that face. In other culture, in other societies, we have actually different other remnants of the shaitan. So let's look at what actually the Quran and Sunnah speaks about when Quran and Sunnah speaks about the shaitan. So the word jinn actually, in Arabic, it means something which is hidden. So al-jan, so wal-jana khalaqnahu min qablu min nar as-samum in Surah Al-Hijr, ayah number 27, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that. And the jinn did we create aforetime of essential. Yeah, so essential fire. So what it means is this actually nar as-samum, this actually means the tips of the fire. Yeah, so these tips of the fire, when they turn blue and they turn yellow and they turn red. So these tips of the fire. In Surah Rahman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَخَلَقْنَا الْجَانَّ مِنْ مَارِجٍ مِنَ النَّارِ. Now, what is this marriage? Yeah, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, which is the smokeless fire. So now, if we combine these two, the samum and the marriage, so we have an understanding is that this is something which is made of fire. And also, this is something which is made of smokeless fire. So you can understand it from an angle that these thunderbolts which happens whenever there is rain and there is a lot of thunderstorm. So these thunderbolts, what is happening with the thunderstorms is that the lightning which actually is there, it is smokeless, right? There is no smoke within amongst those thunderbolts. Yeah. So this is how we understand. Obviously, this is amongst, once again, these are from amongst the things which are from amongst the alimut ghaib. So we are not really sure how it is. Yeah. But again, we can give certain examples to make us understand how it is. So also, as Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam actually has said that the angels were created from light and the jinns were created from smokeless fire. In the Sahih Muslim, this has been mentioned, and this actually has been mentioned, quite in a few places as well in other books of Ahadith. Then Allah Subhanahu wa Taala in Surah Al-An'am actually mentions, when he's addressing both the humans and the jinns, and what this is, the Yahmashar al-Jinni wal Insi alam yahtikum rusulun minkum. So what is this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, O you assembly of jinn and mankind, did not there come to you messengers from amongst you, reciting unto you my verses and warning you of the meeting of this day of yours? So from this we understand that these jinns, they are from amongst the tribes. So they have assembly, they are from amongst the tribes. In other verses it has been mentioned they have qawm, so they have nations, how they are, what is their ethnicities, whether they have nationalities, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. But again, by looking at the various context and the text of Quran and Sunnah, what we can actually see is that nationalities, ethnicities, and qawm and the tribes, actually we are getting a picture of how these creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are. Then in Surah Al-A'raf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, Ya bani Adama, la yaftitannakum ash-shaytanu kama akhraja abwaykum. That, O children of Adam, do not let shaitan deceive you as he tempted your parents out of paradise and caused their covering to be removed in order to expose their nakedness. Yeah. So surely he and his soldiers watch you from where you cannot see them. We have made the devils allies to those who disbelieve. In Surah Al-Araf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this. Now also remember that these shayateen, these are from amongst both the female and the male. So what do we do? What do we recite when we go before entering the toilets and the bathroom? What is that? We say, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubusi wal khaba'is. So in Anas ibn Malik, he mentions that when Prophet ﷺ is mentioning this dua, that, O Allah, I seek refuge in you from the jinns and from amongst the men and the women. In Fath al-Bari, Hafiz Hajar al-Asqalani, he actually mentions that these khaba'is are from amongst the men of the jinn, yeah, and the sorry, the khaba'is are from amongst the women of the jinn, and the khubus, yeah, the plural of which is khubusa. Khubusa is the plural of that. It actually means from amongst the men of the jinn. Yeah. So Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al khubusi wal khaba'is. That the jinns who are from amongst the men and also from amongst the women. Then in another hadith, Prophet ﷺ actually has mentioned, which has been reported by Al-Hakim and also by Al-Baghawi, that there are three types of jinn as described in the following authentic hadith of Prophet ﷺ. And what are these three types? Which is number one. One type which flies through the air. That is one type. What is the second type? The second type is which consists of snakes and dogs. And what is the third type? The third type is which is actually based in one place, but which travels abroad. Yeah, so three types. So again, we'll be coming to these descriptions in a while, and we'll be expanding upon them, inshallah, in a short while. But before I do that, before we expand on the description, also there is a word which is used in the Quran called Iblees. So Iblees is whom, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions Iblees repeatedly, and it continues by ثم قلنا للملائكة اسجدوا لآدم فسجدوا إلا إبليس أبى أن يكون مع الساجدين. In many verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the word Iblis. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning Iblis, so what it means? So again, according to the linguists, this comes from ablasa, which means desperation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. Yeah. So the Iblis, what happened to him? That he was desperate, he was moved away from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is actually what happened to him. Or it can also stem from the word balasa, which means something which has no benefit whatsoever. So the original name, according to Ar-Razi, is Azazil. Ar-Razi mentions this as Azazil. And they were called Iblis due to their despair of the mercy and the compassion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibn Manzur mentions this in his book. Now, who is Iblis? The Iblis, the master devil, is what? He is the head of the shayateen, who incite mankind to wicked actions, to fighting amongst one another, to disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, always endeavor to lead them astray from his guidance. Yeah. So this again is something which we understand from various Quranic verses, as we mentioned. Qala ya Iblis ma la Allah takuna ma sajidin wa qulna lil malaikati isjudu li Adam fasjudu illa Iblis, and again, it mentions various ayahs. It mentions the word Iblis in the Quran. Now, once we have gathered this information, an overall picture now is, we are trying to make an overall picture of what shaitan is. So the word shaitan, also in the Quran and Ahadith, the word shaitan is mentioned again in many places. Again, I don't have a count of exactly what is the count. I think maybe I was reading somewhere around about 80 times it has been mentioned in various places. So this word shaitan stems from the root shatana, which actually means to stay away. So whosoever prefers to disturb people, the humankind, and also other jinn, yeah, and also animals, yeah. So this is again Ibn Mansour mentions this. So they are named Satan because they actually take people away from the truth, yeah. So usually they would like to take people away from the truth and also disrupt their understanding of the truth, yeah. And this is heavy subject, which again we are going to be relying on the book a lot to understand that what is that shaitan wants us to take us away from. What is that actually, that truth which shaitan wants us to go away from? Yeah? This verse is mentioned in the Quran, like I said, around about 80 times. And also within this subset, there's another mention of the name At-Taghut. Yeah? In the Quran, the word Taghut is mentioned in like 8 places. And this word also means a Satan in human form, as according to Ibn Abi Hatim. So this is what Ibn Abi Hatim mentions, that basically this word Taghut, it means the shayateen from amongst the humankind. Now, In various ahadiths, it has been narrated, as Prophet ﷺ has actually explained, that shaitan can enter into the human body and he can actually disturb us through various means. And amongst one of the hadiths which has been narrated in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, it is narrated that the Prophet ﷺ actually has said, the shaitan flows through the son of Adam as the blood flows through his veins. Yeah? And again, like I said, we will speak about that a little bit more. Another important verse which we need to understand, which was mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah in ayah number 275. الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الرِّبَا لَا يَقُومُونَ إِلَّا كَمَا يَقُومُ الَّذِي يَتَخَبَّطُهُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ. Those who swallow usury, interest, yeah, riba, cannot rise up save as he riseth whom the devil has prostrated by his touch. Yeah, this again, this understanding of exactly how shayateen infect the human beings, how they actually go through the human beings. Another example has been mentioned in the Quran for the people who consume usury, who actually consume riba. And Al-Qurtubi mentions in his tafsir that this ayah is a proof that those people are wrong who deny that epilepsy is caused by the jinn and claimed that its causes are only physical and that the shaitan does not enter people or cause madness. Again, this is a very deep subject. And as we always say, that in these lessons, we will also be speaking about the psychological issues which a lot of people actually suffer because of this mass of the shaitan, this touch of the shaitan, whether the shaitan actually is going through our bodies, as Prophet ﷺ has mentioned, as he is roaming around in our bodies, in our veins, or whether he is touching us from outside if we are not being protected by what? If we are not being protected by this fortress, by this castle of what? This fortress of the du'as of the morning and evening supplications, my brothers and sisters. The morning and the evening supplications are the hisar against the shaitan. So please, my brothers and sisters, as always we say, please make sure, all of us, that we continue, we make it our habit to ensure that we always are saying our morning and our evening supplications, including those which protect us from the shayateen. That is something which is absolutely important. But like I said, we will be expanding on this subject as we inshallah move along. So also Ibn Kathir mentions that after mentioning this ayah which I just mentioned about riba, that these people, yani these people who have been consuming riba, whether they are, as Prophet ﷺ mentioned, 4 types of people. He mentioned what 4 types of people? The people who take riba, the people who give riba, the people who sign the contract of riba, and the people who witness the contract of riba. So all these 4 types of individuals are including under this verse. So Ibn Kathir mentions that these individuals, when they will raise up on the day of resurrection, when they will raise up on the day of judgment, what will happen to these people? Ibn Kathir says that these people, when they raise up from their graves, they will be as if, you know, they are having epilepsy, as if they have epileptic seizures, yeah, as if they are being beaten by the devils which are from this dunya. This is because they will rise in a very bad state. And Ibn Abbas, the Mufassir al-Quran, he mentions anhu, that the one who consumes riba will rise on the day of resurrection crazy and choking. Okay, so this is how we understand that this is not only to be understood from an angle of actually not affecting us physically, it is something which is going to be affecting us physically as well. Yeah, so it's not only a psychological ailment which normally people can get through the touching of the devils, through these various issues, but also as we have seen in various instances that people actually are impacted big time by magic. People are affected big time by this mass of the shayateen, and then what happens? They are unable to function, their brains are locked, they have pains in their bodies, you know, they are unable to walk, they are unable to do any of the course, etc., etc. Again, you know, those things we will not be going into a lot of details in these discussions, because we will be concentrating mostly on other affairs, inshallah, as we will see in the book, when inshallah we are able to start towards end of today or next week, inshallah. So now, what are the different shapes which the jinns can acquire? Yeah, and how does he try to terrify us? Yeah. So basically, as we've seen, that the jinn actually are made from what? From smokeless fire. Yeah, and that fire again is from the tips of the normal fire which we see now. So they don't have any real shape. Yeah, they don't have any real shape. They can take any shape. Yeah, as we have seen in that hadith where Prophet ﷺ has mentioned that they can take a shape of what? They can take a shape of anything literally. In the hadith, it mentions snakes and dogs. But again, they can take any form, as we have seen in various hadith which have been narrated. All of us know about the hadith of Abu Hurairah, where Ayatul Kursi was revealed. So what happened? Which was the form which the Satan take in that hadith? He took the form of a human being, and he came in a form of a beggar. Remember that hadith? So again, he can take any form. So the majority opinion holds that jinn is that we cannot see the jinn until and unless the jinns actually want to reveal themselves to us. Yeah. So we as human beings have not been given this privilege because they are from another dimension. We are not in the same dimension. This dunya is one dimension and their dimension is another dimension. Jinn can enter our world, but we cannot enter their world. Okay, as in Surah Al-Araf in verse number 27, it has been mentioned very clearly that, and again, if I quote the ayah, then the ayah is basically that surely he and his soldiers watch you from where you cannot see them. So we cannot see them, but they can see us. Then also the shifting of shapes. So they can take any shape or form. Yeah, they can even appear in the form of a dead person. Yeah, and how do we know? What is my daleel? What is my evidence? And again, we return our evidence back to the Quran and Sunnah. And the daleel is that Shaitan cannot take the form of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has clearly stated that he cannot take my form. Yeah, if you see me in a dream. So now Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam obviously has passed away. So he cannot take the form of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but he can actually take the form of any dead person in our dream. Okay. Now, also there are certain myths we would like to mention. Those myths we need to get rid of, inshallah, right from the word go. What are those myths? So some of those myths are that the soul goes to the other one. Once a person passes away, what happens? That the soul goes to the other world, which is barzakh. So the soul of the dead cannot come back to this world. They cannot come back to this dunya. Yeah, as obviously it has been mentioned in various places. So this is again a myth which people have that that again they are appearing. The people actually who have passed away, they are appearing in this dunya. No, that is not the case. What might happen is that shayateen might take the form of certain individuals in the dreams who have passed away. Also, the magicians and shapes of the dead men, again, are all from the jinns. That everything, whatever you are seeing, is again all from the jinn, because the soul, the ruh, goes to the barzakh from which it cannot come back. Okay. Now, a number of seerah incidents we would like to mention here. So, some of the seerah incidents, if you remember the episode in seerah, which speaks about when Prophet ﷺ was about to migrate to Medina, and there was a knock on the door of the Makkans who were trying to kill the Prophet ﷺ. And who was there? So a chieftain from amongst the Najd was there, who actually came. Iblis himself came in that form of that chieftain of the Najd. And he asked the people, he knocked on the doors, and he gathered the people, and he said that go ahead, take a person from each tribe, and then they gathered to assassinate. They made a plan to assassinate Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Yeah. So again, he took that form of that human being. What are the other narrations? In Badr, if we recall in Surah Muhammad, we have again gone into a lot of details in the Durus of the Quran. In Badr, what happened? So Iblis came and pretended to be Suraka bin Malik when he was not a companion, when he was not a Sahabi. Yeah. And what happened that there was actually there was an issue between the Makkans and Suraka, the tribe of Suraka ibn Malik, who was not a Muslim at that time, which prevented the Makkans to go and fight the Muslims in Medina. So Suraka Iblees again came himself in the form of Suraka ibn Malik, and he mentions that I will be your protector, and he pretended to be from their tribe. Yeah, and then as we know the story that during the war, when he saw the angels descending, these 5,000 angels descending, he actually fled away. And when Abu Jahl actually asked him, "Oh Suraka, where are you heading? Where are you running away?" And he then pushed Abu Jahl away, and he flew and fell down. Abu Jahl fell down, and Suraka actually, who was not actually Suraka, this is again from the previous before he accepted Islam, and the Iblis then went away. Also, I've mentioned already that famous hadith in Sahihain, which mentions about the zakah incident, where a lot of zakah was collected from various places, and Abu Huraira was appointed by Prophet ﷺ to guard that. And then what happened is that the poor beggar who actually came in, again Shaitan came into the form of that beggar. He wanted to take it from the wealth of the zakah. And Abu Huraira, obviously we know what happened is that he felt sorry for that individual and he let him go. And again, the next day that happened, Prophet ﷺ told Abu Huraira that he will come back. And again, the third thing, the same thing happened. And then the third thing, when Prophet ﷺ asked him about the story, when the shaitan told Abu Huraira about Ayatul Kursi, is that something that Sadaqaka huwal kazoob. Yeah, Sadaqaka huwal kazoob, that he is the perpetual liar. The shaitan is a perpetual liar. Again, I'm not narrating the full hadith because that is something which is inshallah known. If not known, then someone can paste the hadith in various channels, inshallah, the actual hadith from Bukhari, inshallah. So this is again, as we can see, from the devil's mouth, as they say. Yeah, this is again from the devil's mouth, that although shaitan is a perpetual liar, but he spoke. Then also there's another incident which is narrated by Ibn Taymiyyah. Again, a very detailed incident which he mentions, that he once went to one of the far off cities, and the students of that city mentioned that you came to us previously and you spoke about such and such, and Ibn Taymiyyah said, that was not me. So shaitan can take even the form of the pious. Yeah, so that is something which he can actually. He is an entity which is again come in even a wakeful state, as we have seen, as Iblis came in many forms and Shaitan came in many forms in a wakeful state as well. Yeah. Now also remember, you remember that story, the complete story of Sulaiman alayhi salam. Now there are various categories of these jinn, and this is where we will inshallah be ending. We'll be ending our session for today. Is that what are those various categories? So these various categories are, we have seen that from amongst the jinn, we have the Iblis, which is the cursed one, which is in every culture you've seen that they have this understanding of a real demon who is way above, and then there are various types of shayateen. Yeah, this is Iblis. Then in the story of Sulaiman, it mentions Ifrit. In Sunnah also, as Prophet ﷺ was once praying, and what happened, this Ifrit from amongst the jinns came, and he tried to disrupt the prayer of Prophet ﷺ, and Prophet ﷺ tried to, and he grabbed him, and Prophet ﷺ then said, Ifrit was as close to me as I could hear him. I could actually sense him, as if I could see the coolness, feel the coolness of his breath. Yeah. So this is again from amongst the Ifrit, and Prophet ﷺ said that I wanted to hold on to this Ifrit, so for that you are able to see him in the morning. But I was actually then understanding of the unique status which was awarded to my brother Sulaiman alayhi salam, because we remember Sulaiman alayhi salam was given the power over whom? The jinns, the birds, the animals, the creatures. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him this capacity. Correct? If you again go back to the dars of Quran, which we have covered in quite some depth in, inshallah, in Ramadan. So now we have Ifrit, we have Iblis. Okay. Then what are the other characteristics? So these jinns, they have children. They actually commit illegal intimate relations with people inside and outside of their marriage, within within their own creatures, and na'uzubillah also from amongst the human beings. They do these kinds of acts. Okay, and again, that is something. This is a very delicate subject. I would actually request that you, whosoever is actually having these types of issues with the jinns, then they should be seeking professional advice. And again, I can paste certain information, or my other brothers can, who are listening today. They can paste some advice, some contacts, whoever is being afflicted with certain ailments which they think are from amongst the jinn, then again there is a proper way to get rid of them, inshallah. Now, they eat and they drink as well. Yeah, so they don't actually. What we have been commanded to do is that we have been commanded not to eat with our left hand, right? And why are we commanded to do that? Because shayateen eat with their left hand. Okay, so we are commanded to eat with our right hand. Also, Prophet ﷺ has mentioned that leave the food for your brother jinn. What? Any bones which you see outside, any kind of the cow dung which is outside, which we are not supposed to touch. And here I will finish the session for today. Is that Prophet ﷺ had said in Sahih al-Bukhari that when we enter the house, we should be saying what? Bismillah, and then we should be saying what? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, so if we don't say that, then, and if we don't recite the other du'as like Bismillah walajna, Bismillah kharajna, wa ala rabbana tawakkalna, if we don't recite these du'as, then what will happen? Shayateen will come and eat. The shayateen will say, now Bismillah has not been recited, so now this is free food for us, and they will come and join our meals. So here, inshallah, we will end the discussion today. I want to stick to the timelines, inshallah. I know this is very interesting discussion, inshallah. We will continue, inshallah, next week exactly from here. And next week also we will be able to, inshallah, give an overview exactly about the chapters we will be covering. Like I said, don't miss this. This is a very important series, guys, for many perspectives, which inshallah we'll be speaking more of. Some of them we have spoken initially when we started the talk, and some inshallah we'll be speaking next week. So here we will end. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.